Hey guys, it's Bobby Legs, and welcome to another State of the collection review overview stream. And tonight, our it's our roastee tonight is none other than Dan. Dan has been participates a lot on the comments and a few of the streams that we're on. And so when I threw it out there to Dan, if he wanted to come on and show his collection, he was very, very happy to do so. So let's start off with you, Dan. Dan, how are you, man? What are you wearing tonight? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. Yeah, I love watching you guys. And today I'm wearing my Grand Seiko diver. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the whole peanut gallery showed up today.
Well, we'll see how you feel by the end of the hour. Colin, how you doing, man? What do you got on
I'm good.
today?
Actually, I think I wore this Wednesday too, but I got my day chest on again. Had to wear a suit at work today, so I threw that on.
I don't think I've worn a suit at work in maybe like 10 years, man. It's been a long time.
Every once in a while I gotta, so.
Yeah. King of Cave Crickets, thank you for gracing us.
I did not have to wear a suit today, so I wore the Moser.
Oh,
Very nice.
slumming it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that the casual? Okay.
Yeah, that's casual,
Business casual. Very nice.
Crocs casual.
I don't know if I own a suit right now, but I'm wearing a day chest as well. 36 millimeters for me.
Nice. And I'm wearing a heavy Flyers sweatshirt every time. I think I'm gonna wear it every time I do a stream with Colin. Even though, and I'm wearing my Mudmaster. I can't get this off wrist for some reason.
I got mine coming in a couple days.
Great. So let's see who's on the chat. Hey, Chris from the Watch Lounge, how you doing, man? And guys in the chat, please let us know what you're wearing. Ken Spear is on. Hey, Ken. Hey, Dustin. Blue shirt. And good evening, Peter. Hey, blue shirt also says, hey, Amin. And we have Random Rob, Joe, Mr. Joe's in. Hello, ladies. MJ with his famous greeting. Hello, ladies. And that's you, Colin.
Hi.
So, as you guys know, every other Friday we do a collection overview with someone, and today's Dan. And Dan, I like to start off getting to know a little bit about the collector before we jump into the collection. Could you tell us, how you got into watches? Did somebody getting you into watches? Did it happen organically? How did it happen? Let us know.
So I love anything mechanical. So cars, bikes, bicycles. So if it's got, anything with gears in it, it interests me. So, yeah, it was just kind of like natural, I guess.
Cool, man. Cool. And so when you went from cars then to watches, I assume then, or was it vice versa?
I'm more into cars than watches. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do you watch a lot of car YouTube channels, or is that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
What kind of cars are you into?
Yeah.
Like more sporty cars, Just
like Ferrari, Lambo kind of stuff,
or more muscle,
or
more attainable stuff.
Okay, gotcha. Now, have you are you also into modding cars or tricking out cars?
Like, big time.
So what?
My friend's exhaust sitting downstairs, waiting for him to come over so I could help him with it.
I grew up with a couple of guys who loved tricking out their Honda Civics and going down to Englishtown, New Jersey, where they would race them. I never got into cars so much. I'm not really not that I'm not into it. It's just my brain doesn't work that way. If they're pretty and they're if they can go fast and they're fuel efficient, that's perfect for me. But what about you guys on the panel? Are you guys anybody into cars?
I'm all electric now.
Okay.
I'm an electric car guy now. Yeah, I've left gas behind. I still kind of I can still appreciate a cool internal combustion engine car, but no, I'm hooked on electric.
Daniel loves the 911s. All right, 911s.
Yeah, sweet.
Sweet car. Daniel, you're here in the chat and you're here on the live stream.
That's
Double
right.
duty.
Yeah.
Doing double duty.
That's a power move. Power move. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel. So we're gonna jump right in to one of the watches in your collection. The first one that you wanted to talk about this evening. So let me pull that up and and we have here the sorry. So we got this figured out. The Omega Planet Ocean. So tell us about this one here.
So I know Colin has the 42 millimeter version. This is the 45.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first like real watch that I bought.
Hey.
I got it in 2006. I didn't know anything about watches. I walked into an AD in Manhattan, and this actually bought it on a black rubber strap with orange stitching. That popped out at me, and I was just like, wow. And then it was between the 42 and the 45. I didn't know anything about watches. The trend at that time, 2006, was towards, the
Big.
larger watches,
Yeah.
starting to get big. And then also in my mind, I'm like, the 45 is only like $200-$300 more than the 42. I'm going to get the big watch. It's a better value.
You get more watch for the money. Yeah.
I mean, like, probably now, if I were to go back in time, knowing what I know now, I would probably get the 42, just because it's a little bit thinner. It's a little bit, but the size doesn't bother me. I still wear it all the time. And that was I was a one watch person for 12 years. I wore that every day, 12 years. I did
it's like same story as me with the same watch.
Oh, really? Cool. So I had it 12 years, never serviced it during that time because it was my only watch. I went scuba diving with it. I was shooting shotguns with it. I crashed my motorcycle in it, and it never missed a beat.
Yeah.
And then, finally I was like, all right, it's time to get this thing serviced. So then that's when I started, my watch hobby really started. I just bought like a generic Flieger because I was like, I need to wear something while this is in service. And that's how this whole ball, started rolling downhill.
It's been all downhill since then.
Yeah.
It's super interesting because with the Planet Ocean, around that time, 2000, you said you bought that around 2006, you said?
2006 is when I got it, yeah.
I started getting into watch collecting the first time around that time. And I, in the same apartment complex that I lived in, I became friends with a watchmaker who worked for Richemont. And then his buddy also who worked for Richemont, I became friends with him, really good friends with him. And so they told me a couple of things, right? I was picking their brain. I really knew nothing about watches. I had my Girard-Perregaux. That's the only thing I had, and I bought it because somebody else I knew had it, and I liked it, right? No research, nothing. So I was picking their brains. They were like, okay, you go El Primero. That's what they suggested. And they said, and then look at the Planet Ocean. Look at that. They were so hopped up on that coaxial movement. They were like, if you're going to get another diver, get that watch. I never got it, but it was always on my radar, and it still is. But even the watchmakers that I knew were like, you gotta seriously consider that watch.
I beat the shit out. I crashed my motorcycle in it, and it was working. It never skipped a second. So just.
Yeah, I've never serviced mine either. Mine isn't quite as old as yours, but it's an awesome watch. And at that time, you have to remember, like, coaxial for Omega was relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was kind of when it came out, and it was pretty novel for them at the time for a mass-produced watch to have the coaxial. It's one of my favorite watches. I love it. Awesome pick, especially for your first one.
Yeah, and what's super interesting is that you're a one watch guy for 12 years, and then you became a enthusiast or collector, right? I mean, that's really interesting to me. Okay, so let's jump on to the next watch, and this is a vintage Omega Seamaster. Really cool watch. I've seen these or similar watches online because every once in a while I have this fantasy of getting like a birth year watch. And there's always a lot of Omega Seamasters around. Tell us about this one.
So this is my dad's watch. I didn't know him very well, but my mom saw me wearing my watch one day, and she's like, "Oh, when did you get that?" And this was the Planet Ocean, and she's like, "Oh, I have your dad's old watch." And she pulled it out, and I never knew about it. And sure enough, his watch was an Omega too. And I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
it's funny that we both got Omegas, and I never knew about this watch."
That's cool.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome, man. That's
So
awesome.
this was purchased probably maybe like 2 years before I was born.
So was that 70s or 80s?
This is gonna be probably like late 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So
I
that's-
love
sorry,
that.
go ahead.
I love that. You know, that cushion case kind of. You know what I mean? Like it looks really really cool on that case for sure. Colin,
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
sorry.
Yeah, it's got to be 70s.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the C-shaped case on the Constellation, similar,
Mhm.
not quite. It's a little more squared off, but I've
Right.
always liked that design, and for an older watch, it's a good size because of that case shape. Yeah, I love it.
And it looks like it's in great shape.
The plastic crystal has a little crack in it,
Right.
but I don't really wear it that much just because it's so small, and you can't see it because it's at the edge.
How big is it?
34. It's pretty
Really?
small. Yeah, it's pretty
Looks
Oh,
pretty
it-
big on your wrist there.
It looks pretty big, yeah.
Yeah.
small.
I'm
That's
in
cool, though.
King of Cave Crickets, KOCC. What do you think of that one? That's a pretty neat little vintage watch, I would say.
I like it. Like I think it fits your wrist well. I don't think it looks small at all.
No.
It wears big, and it's got a distinct look to it. So it's good to have one of those watches where it's just going to change it up. Make sure you don't have too many round watches.
Mm-hmm.
I like 70s watches. I have a couple. Wish I had one that was my dad's. That's definitely cool.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
super cool. I wish I had the same.
Yeah, my dad had an old Bulova, and I remember him wearing it. And then, so he passed away when I was around 13 years old. And then a few years later, like somebody robbed our apartment, like broke into our apartment, and they took a few things. And then that was one of the things that they took. And so in my mind's eye, I think I could remember what it looks like. And I've been looking online, but I still can't seem to find, like nothing I see reminds me of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'll keep looking, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure it wasn't anything fancy, because it wasn't like we had a lot of money then, or now, but but it's something that I keep on looking for.
Cool.
Okay, so moving right along, we're gonna jump into your third watch in your collection here, and the classic,
Sweet.
the Timex Ironman.
Yeah.
I need one of those.
So this is a rebuy. This is not the one that I had since I was a kid, but it's the same exact reference number. I was watching another YouTuber, and he was like, "Oh, I had these when I was a kid." And as soon as I saw the image of it, I'm like, "That's it! That's it! That's what I want."
Yeah.
So I hunted down like a good example, and it's tough to find because the rubber straps are getting old now, and a lot of them are cracked and dried out. But I remember I was a kid, and I needed a watch to go away to summer camp for Boy Scouts, and my mom took me to Caldor, and
Caldor.
And I remember I thought it was the coolest thing in the world because Indiglo was pretty new at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be under the covers and under the sheet, turning on the little light, playing with the light all the time.
Bringing back memories for me.
And then
Yeah.
Timex did a collaboration with Todd Snyder that has a similar look, and it's the only modern Iron Man that has an orange mode button like this one does. So I was like, oh, I got to get that too. So now I got one of those too.
It's awesome.
Very nice.
Mine, I had the same thing when I was a kid, but mine was the black bezel with like the yellow buttons, I think.
So pre-Indigo, probably.
No, I think I had Indiglo.
Yeah.
Maybe not though. I don't know.
Because they had that
Sure I
same
did.
exact shape
Yeah.
without Indigo also.
Okay. I don't know.
I think
I
mine
know I
had
had an
teal.
Indiglo watch when I was young, but they're so cool. Yeah. I wore it all the time when I was a kid.
I think MJ here was referring back to the Seamaster. He's like, I have the vintage one. I had one of those, but with the TV display.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
A friend of mine just bought one actually.
Have you ever seen? You know what? You know what's cool to the Zenith ones that looks like the TV display. Those are really cool as well. Bullova's doing a lot of cool vintage reissues.
Mhm.
Hey
You know
there,
what
EP Arfe.
Sorry,
No.
I'm breaking out my vintage geekness here, but the Bulova like parking meter watch. I don't know if you guys know what that one is. It's a really cool Bulova from back in the vintage days. They're quite expensive now. But anyway, go ahead.
And Peter's. I have an Iron Man as well. Peter's got a lot of fun vintage digital watches. He actually sent me an Aegis that has an altimeter from the 80s, and I gotta post that. I did a vintage review with a couple of watches all together, and that was one of them. So look forward to putting that up. So now let's move on to something that is very interesting. I've never seen this watch before,
Yeah.
and this is the GRD RL-71. Tell us about this one.
So this is my fun watch. It's not a serious watch, you know. It's a one-hander.
Yeah.
You want to pull up the
Yeah, I
pictures?
can't see it.
Oh, you can't see it? Sorry, guys.
Hmm.
But keep on talking. That's okay.
Yeah, so it's a single-handed watch. It's so you can only tell accuracy of the time to up to 10 minutes because each hash mark is a 10-minute indicator.
Yeah.
And it's meant to replicate the font. The needle is from a Porsche tachometer, and the red block at the 630 would be like 6,500 RPMs would be the red line. So like right now, that picture is showing it's almost 12 o'clock.
So
Cool.
it's interesting where it has the 12 o'clock position.
Yeah.
It's not like what you typically now. Is there a reason for? Does this follow
Just
some
look
sort
more like a tachometer. That's all.
of? Okay.
Because
Gotcha.
the tachometer usually starts from 0 to.
So like 12 is 0 basically. Yeah. Makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cheap Swiss quartz movement in there, but I think it's my fun watch. And then
And now
NATO strap.
Is that what's the case diameter on that one?
I think it's like 42.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's going to look big on your wrist because it's pretty much all dial.
Yeah. But it's black, so it doesn't it's not really loud.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go moving on, and now it's where it's going to get interesting here. You have a couple of Grand Seikos coming up, and so this one, the SPGA 229er. Tell us a little bit about this guy.
So this got me into getting more serious into watches because before this point, I've been just dabbling. Couple G-Shocks here and there, and I only had that Omega. So this was my next quote unquote nice watch. I knew I wanted spring drive because I was nerding out on that technology, and I was debating between this is the steel version, the 229. They also make this in titanium. I was debating between this, the titanium, and the snowflake. And I tried all three at the AD and just mulling over it for maybe 2-3 weeks. And I pulled the trigger on this one. And when I made the decision, it just coincidentally happened to be like a week before my birthday. And then the day of my birthday, my AD calls me. He's like, "Oh, your watch just came in." So it was just kind of cool.
You made the right choice.
Yeah. I think you made the right choice. Like the steel Craig ship is the best of those three.
Yeah.
It's really robust. It's not the same watch as Craig ships, and it's more proportional than the Snowflake. So
Yeah.
And it looks kind of badass, and I think it kind of goes with your collecting aesthetic. Just looking at your previous watches, I don't think the Snowflake would have been a little bit out of place. So
Yeah.
I think it was the right choice for sure.
Dan, was there any particular influencer that made you aware of or think about that watch, or just by going to
wasn't
the
Craig
AD
Shipp.
and not necessarily
No.
Craig Shipp?
No,
But,
I mean, when I found out about the spring drive and how it works and how it's like a hybrid,
Yeah.
that really interested me. So I knew I wanted a spring drive.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Pete from Not So Obvious Watches, thanks for joining us, Pete. He's all the way halfway across the world, or I guess halfway across the world. So the Grand Seikos, it looks enormous. How do they wear, Dan? Let Pete know.
They are thick for sure. I think if they slim down the entire collection like 1 millimeter, everybody would be happy. As far as like height, but as far as diameter, this doesn't. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I don't think it wears big.
Yeah.
44 millimeters. Dive watches are supposed to be big because you
Hold it up. Hold it up. No, like further from the camera though, where you had it, like back here. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah.
It does.
It wears good.
How big's
It's
your
like
wrist?
A 7 1/4.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
It's like the planet Ocean, right? It's like everyone thinks it's so big, but like it's so
Yeah.
thick, but it's actually quite proportionate.
Yeah.
So like for me, like I kind of hate the Seamaster, but I love the planet Ocean. So
I hate the
I feel like-
new.
You said you hate the Seamaster.
I hate the Seamaster.
Oh.
Ocean hands.
You know what?
Deal breaker.
I think you got 3 votes, at least 3 votes here of people who hate the Seamaster. I don't know about
I'm
the
team
two
Planet
two
Ocean.
politically
I'm team-
correct guys won't say.
No, I
Team Planet
actually
Ocean
like the
all the way.
Seamaster.
I like the Seamaster too.
Oh, okay.
The skeleton hands ruin it for me. That if they had different hands on it, I could jive with it, but I can't.
In fact, I own the Seamaster, so I put my money where my mouth was on that one.
Not anymore though.
Well, no, but you can't keep them all.
I've owned a Seamaster. I hated it.
Did you? I
had a
like the
2531.
Seamaster, and I like
I
the
had a
new one even better.
2531, and that was the best version of the Seamaster. I still sold it. No, I haven't owned this. I haven't owned the ceramic pre 8800. I think if I'd bought the ceramic pre 8800, I probably would have kept it.
That's
Yeah.
the one I had in blue.
Yeah, I
that's
kind
not
of hate the new one. Like I would take the Planet Ocean any day of the week, and I would probably take the Grand Seiko Diver any day of the week.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Kevin, the new spring dry movement will be slimmer. New GS divers coming soon. Okay.
Oh, they have a new one coming out, slimmer? I didn't know that.
Kevin, if you know,
The new movement is thinner.
Yeah.
So, do you guys think that the Spring Drive gets enough credit, too much credit, not enough credit
Just enough.
It's
where it needs to be, in my opinion.
So if this was my only watch and I wore it every day, it's been since I've owned it exactly 0.2 seconds fast per day. So that means if I only set it for daylight savings times, it would be less than 30 seconds off every time I need to reset it.
I know I'm not the only one to think of this, but I wonder if one of these Swiss companies had come out with it, if Omega had come out with it, if Rolex had come out with it, would it get more, less, or the same amount of
More.
horology respect?
Piaget almost came out with it, right?
But
It came very, very close.
but that was
Really?
after, right? I mean, that was
It was
after.
around the same time, I think.
Was it?
It was really close, but yeah, it would have been crazy.
How were they both developing the same thing at the same time? Is there like some corporate espionage going on or something? That
I know
seems
Grand
way
Seiko-
too coincidental.
Grand Seiko was working on it for over 20 years before it
right.
became commercially available.
Yeah.
I could just imagine like somebody dressed up all black with a big P on it and sneaking into Grand Seiko headquarters, like the Pink Panther, and then trying to to steal the technology. The P for Piaget, guys. All right. Anyway, let's. They're not all gems. Let's. We're gonna go. It's Friday
nothing,
night, boy.
nothing but cave crickets after that.
So speaking of Grand Seiko and Spring Drive, look at this one, man. When you sent me this one, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, look at that dial, man.
That's my favorite watch in the collection.
Yeah, that's sick.
It's funny. Go ahead.
If there's one thing I love more than cave crickets, it's Godzilla. This is awesome.
This is the monster of Grand Seiko, right? I mean, it's aggressive, unapologetic.
Yeah.
I don't know that special edition like GTR like with the navy blue and white like chrono. That's bigger, I think. Like that was more like in your face.
Yeah.
I hate that one.
This is better though.
This is way better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting case shape too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Anyway, let him talk about his watch.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it's funny that you all have that initial reaction that like, oh, you love it. Has anybody on the panel seen this one in person?
Yeah, I had it on wrist. I almost bought it. I had to be stopped because it was too big. It was too big.
It's a big watch.
It is.
And I kept saying to myself it was too big, and I was still gonna buy it, and then I got stopped.
So this one, when it was first announced, only online, you see pictures on Hodinkee and whatnot, and I just thought that's stupid because it's $2,000 more than last year's model, which had a full titanium bracelet. And I was like, why is this $2,000 more? And it's got a strap. This doesn't make any sense. But I knew I liked the case shape because I tried on the previous year's model, which was the Lion. Same case, different dial, full titanium bracelet. I love that watch, but I didn't like the texture of the dial. So, but when my AD got this, and he's like, "Oh, hey, check this out," and I looked at it, and I was like, and then his shout out to Carico. He's my AD. You can find him on Instagram, the Minute Man. He's great pictures of all his watches, but he has huge windows in the front of his AD. So all that natural light coming in and just hitting it, I was just like, oh my God. But I did the smart thing of not doing an impulse buy. So I said to myself, if this thing is still stuck in my head in a month, I'm going to buy it. And that's what I did.
Man, you're lucky it stuck around for a month.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those
really
went fast.
So I haven't seen this watch in person, only pictures. But is that dial? Is that like textured? Okay.
It's a Sunray, but
Yeah.
So like this thing is crazy. Like the way it plays with light, and
like a fluted dial. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much plays with the light. So like, right now at night indoors, it would look almost like dark brown muddy. And then in direct sunlight, depending on the angle of the light, you're going to either see the raised textures or you're just going to see the blasts straight on.
Exquisite Timepieces has one of those in stock right now. I've looked at that periodically. I just checked.
I thought it was stupid because I was like, oh, the back, has Godzilla printed on it. I'm like, that's dumb. Like, why is this $2,000 more money? You're getting less watch. I thought it was gimmicky, but then as soon as I saw that dial, I was just like, all right, this is my next watch.
It's one of their most distinctive watches, I think, out of all. Like, it's
you
instantly recognizable. Not much else that looks anything like it.
A lot of people hate it because it's not typical Grand Seiko.
No, but people always think about, if we could go back in time and pick the watches that are going to be classics. Like, this has all the hallmarks of what will be a classic in the future because it's so unique. It's so different from everything else. It's got such a unique dial, unique case shape. It's got a lot going for it. So
if you see someone wearing that, they're a watch enthusiast too. That's not their one watch. That's not their.
Yeah.
Are you able to get that shark skin, like an extra shark skin? Like, do they sell those?
You can buy those. Yeah.
That's the only. Yeah.
So
I don't know whether they would limit it.
Alton Brown, the TV chef, he has one.
So Kevin S is the bezel loomed on that.
Yes, full loom bezel, sapphire.
Sweet.
Hey Jeffrey, how are you, man? Blue Shirt is like, I really want a GS. They are incredible, well built and designed watches, but they just do less than nothing for me. All right.
Yeah, there's no in between on Grand Seiko really.
Hello,
Like-
everyone. Hey, Junior. Orange Hand, saying hello to the chat today. Noor, hello, buddy. Let's see, Tom. I use the accuracy of the GS to set my Swiss and German time watches.
Yeah. I use my G-Shocks for that. Yeah.
Alrighty, and then and Chris approves, so that's good. Okay, so let's jump into the next watch in your collection, and that is the Seiko Solar Tuna.
Cool.
I like, you know what I like about this one? I mean, I really do, and I just reviewed a Samurai, Seiko Samurai, which I'm not generally a Seiko Samurai fan, but it had this same coloring with like this like goldish tones, and this bezel and the dark. Is this brown or black?
It's black.
Yeah. So it's almost like my Black Bay 58, the original. It looks chocolatey, you know what I mean? Even though it's obviously, you know, a dark, very dark brown or black.
Yeah, it's not completely black because it has the solar panel behind it.
Right, exactly. So
Like
why'd you pick
matte
this one
black.
up?
So this one is in. Well, there's a YouTube channel, You're Terrific. I don't know if you guys know. Evan, I love his videos. Like his cinematography is great. He's the reason I bought this watch. He made a video on it, and I just was like, "Oh wow!" I mean, MSRP is $450. I bought it used in mint condition for half that. So
Right.
And then I bought it thinking, oh, if I don't like it, you know, I can flip it and not lose any money because I bought it so cheap.
Right.
Got it, and I was playing with it, and I was like, this $200 watch has no right to be this much fun. I mean, I love that thing, and it's quartz. Who cares? It's accurate to 7 seconds a month. You know, I don't. Yeah, the dollar to enjoyment ratio on this one is just awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. That's a good point, Dan. The dollar ratio to fun ratio, it definitely plays a lot. You know, I feel that way a lot, that dollar to fun ratio, with with all the solar watches that I've ever had. There's something about having a solar in the collection for me that I really enjoy having, and the fact that it's that technology that in case everything just dies one day, at least I have, you know, a solar watch. I really do enjoy it, even though I just sold my Tron.
Yeah.
Having a solar in the collection.
I feel like Citizen does solar better, like objectively, but like Seiko solar is so much more fun.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like this or the Arnie would be like such a fun watch, and I'm still thinking about the Arnie.
I had the Arnie, the reissue, and I sold it actually to Chris in the watch lounge, and I love that watch. And the thing with the Arnie, you know, I took a flyer on it because I saw the dimensions. I thought it was going to be way too big, but it was only whatever it was. I got a discount from like Macy's or whatever. It was on sale, and so I figured I had nothing to lose. And I really, really liked it. The size didn't bother me at all. It sit on my wrist pretty well, just probably like as good as your Tuna does, right? And it was just a lot of fun to have. And Annie Digital, it's just a really fun watch. And Design, hey, you're never too late. Thanks for joining us. Orange Hand has a question for Amin. Off-topic question. I'm looking at a vintage Hamilton W10. Saw you made a video on one. Did you like it? Downsides?
That was the video that like started Amin Stalker, right? Where Amin Stalker started following him.
I did get a sort of a crazy person following me after that video. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think, you know, it was at a point where I was buying a lot of watches, partially thinking, you know, they were interesting and I'd review them on the channel. And I just couldn't keep that many watches. And So I liked it, but it didn't make the cut when I was in a contraction phase. It's a really good one to compare to the modern reissue. I find that topic really interesting, that we see a lot of modern reissues of these watches that, it costs about the same amount to get the modern reissue of that watch and a really nice copy of the original one. And they're the same size, and I'm not sure which one I'd really rather have. But I did enjoy it. I don't really see any real downsides to that. It's one of the few well-known military vintage watches that you can get for a reasonable price, $1,000 or less, in really nice shape.
Kevin asked a very important question. Commando may be the best film ever made. It's definitely a contender in the action movie genre, I would say. I remember seeing Commando for the first time, and man, I wanted to shoot guns. But then, I saw Black Beauty, and then I wanted to cry.
I'm going to hold my judgment until I watch that Nick Cage movie where he trains jiu-jitsu fighters to fight aliens. That might be a contender.
Might be the best, yeah.
That could end up being the best movie of all time.
That sounds like already the best movie ever made.
Yeah.
Probably is.
Okay. All right. So next to one of my favorites in Dan's collection, and it is the Tudor Pelagos. Dan, tell me what was your thinking when you got this one?
So I wasn't gonna buy a watch.
That's how every story starts, right?
No, so like I had no intention of buying a watch at all. I mean, the Pelagos was always on my radar, and I actually always loved it, but I had no intention of buying one. And my friend, I bought this off one of my friends, so it's good to have friends that have watches because you can get a good deal. So he was selling it, and he gave me a price that I couldn't say no. I figured, well, worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I'm not going to lose money on this. So I was like, all right, let me trigger. And then within the first 12 hours, I fell in love with it. I mean, it's just this is my first titanium bracelet watch, and I bought it in like the peak of summer, and it's just, I always hear about how, titanium doesn't get cold or hot as much as steel. And I didn't really understand that as much, but now that I have a full titanium watch, this is my summer watch. Like, it's so good. The spring-loaded clasp is just phenomenal. And so this actually makes me want to have that left-hand drive more now, because that's the color that I like.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of color, I always thought, if I ever went down the Tudor Pelagos road, that I would go with the blue one. But actually, looking at this picture right now, like, I'm really digging this color combination.
I think that's their best-selling colorways, like the actual basic black. Even though I think the LHD is better looking, and I think the blue is more kind of gimmicky, but like it appeals to people like gimmicky. Like it appeals, it's quite kind of gimmicky, but this is like the one that's their best seller out of the three. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's versatile.
Yeah.
Not only the colorway of the LHD, but the LHD is the only one that are individually numbered.
Yeah. Mine was like when I had it was like 8550. So
yeah, they're well over.
They're well. I don't think it's going to be a collectible.
Listen, any watch with a roulette date, I like.
Yeah.
I'm gimmicky. I still like the blue one.
No, I like the blue one too, but I'd never really considered another color. I just thought that it's blue for me. And then I see Dan's picture here, and I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
That looks really, really good too.
The blue one, I think, is not very versatile. It's like it's a bright blue. It's like a summer beach watch kind of blue.
I'll be honest, I've tried on the Pelagos no less than 10 times. I try it on all the time. And the biggest thing that stopped me from getting one is that I just can't decide which one I like the most.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I
think they're all good. Yeah.
I think I spooked it more than our Chief spooks the man on the moon, or as much.
Pete is a big fan of the Pelagos and the North Flag. Peter, are these in one of these on your list of future potential watch purchases? I'd like to know that. Why don't the Black Bays use the same class? That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't mind the class on my Black Bay 58. I really don't mind it. It's fine.
But it could be better.
But it could be as good as the Pelagos.
Right. Well, I think the Black Bay 58 is supposed to they're trying their best to mimic or the old vintage look that they're trying to get. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's it. They're vintage evocative. The Pelagos is supposed to be, pure tool.
Right.
So, some people put a lot more emphasis on class than others. Like Marcus puts a huge emphasis on it. I really don't care that much. I don't adjust my watches really.
Yeah.
I hook them up. I'm done. Like once they're sized, I'm done. My wrist doesn't fluctuate a lot, but some people they need that adjustment.
Yeah.
So, I literally can't get a good fit on any bracelet until I got the Pelagos and now the Pepsi. Like I could never get a good fit. I don't know why.
Well, why is that? Why do you think? Well, I mean, you don't know why, but I mean, like, is it a question of the right sort of micro adjust, or is it
it's
too much Jollibee? Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be too much Jollibee in the morning and not enough Jollibee at night. Like the salt intake fluctuates during the day.
I'm a strap guy through and through, and I tried the Pelagos on a strap, but I prefer it on the bracelet. It's just the bracelet.
All right. So
yeah, Common, but he lost him.
So moving to the last one in the collection here that Dan is sharing us today, and it's this G-Shock. This is the titanium, right? The original one.
This is the titanium, yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been fighting buying a titanium G-Shock. I feel like for months now. I feel like I keep on talking about it, because I got these certain watches that I want to get, so I'm trying not to get distracted. But they're so tempting, man. I mean, I just want to pick one up so bad. Is it as light as it seems, or as it's touted? What about this? G-Shock, this particular one, the titanium, made you pick it, made you buy it?
Well, I love G-Shocks. This one in particular is my 17th G-Shock.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome.
All of them. I've flipped a bunch of them. But I still have a bunch. But yeah, I've had every iteration of the square, from the $40 5600 to the solar 5610 to the steel resin bezel GW 5000, and then I had the steel version with the resin band, and then progression you got to go up to the titanium one because that's the next one up, right? So I found a crazy deal on this. So this is MSRP is $1,700. I found this brand new in box for $1,000, and I was like,
wow,
good deal.
Wow.
It's discontinued, so it's like I had to pull the trigger.
Well, if you ever have a moment lapse of reasoning and you don't want to sell it, I mean, if you do want to sell it, please email me immediately.
Yeah, this one's great. I mean, because it's titanium, it's light, but it's not too light, and it's also like the Pelagos, where it doesn't get too hot or doesn't get too cold, and it's the only square that has a sapphire glass. Everything else is mineral glass.
Do you have to own a steel G-Shock first before you appreciate the titanium?
That's a good question, because I feel like you do. If you go straight from resin to titanium, I mean, you'll never know. Do you know what I mean?
Because the sapphire, even though the module is the same on the steel, the sapphire makes the clarity better. So when you see it side by side, you can notice the difference. Yeah.
But even just probably the weight. I mean, I had the Tron, and that was actually, I mean, Colin, you have the Tron as well, right? I mean, like, or did at one point?
Oh, I don't have the Tron.
Oh, no. I thought you did. Well, anyway, I mean,
I want it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I have the Bling Master.
right. So, but that's steel though. That's a steel
Yeah.
watch. So, I mean, there is some heft to that watch. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But if you didn't know, to go back to Marcus's point, if you didn't know about the steel, I don't know weight wise if you would feel that big of a difference between the resin and titanium. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't think this watch is for anybody except for G-Shock nerds. If you're not
I
a
agree
G-Shock
with that.
nerd, you're not buying this watch.
Right. When you want, you keep on faking me out there, Colin. I keep on
That's
putting
all
up
right.
your.
I make
Sorry,
good
I'm
points. You should put them up there.
late. Okay. I love G-Shock. Heat is canceled.
Yeah.
Juniors, I don't care for G-Shock either. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
I canceled him too. It's the first time I ever used the term canceled, honestly.
Is that Archie's Luxury's son? Oh, I'm not sure
I
who he's
think
talking
he's
about.
talking about my background, maybe. Yeah, I
Oh,
borrowed
okay.
I borrowed the Archie Luxury suite.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
And Archie's
landlord
looking
who
over
just-
me right here.
That's Archie Lartru's landlord who evicted Archie.
but Ahmed still cut the carpet beetles. Designers here, yes, metal G socks are for fans. Yeah, for sure. All right, so now we're getting to the point where Dan is going to let us know what some of his moves on. Before you say it, I'm going to pull it up on the screen here. So this is one of the watches that you're thinking about pulling the trigger on soon.
Yeah.
Sick.
So
So how did you? I mean, I noticed that you got some pretty, you got a good amount of divers in your collection. Are you? But you also like racing but I didn't see a chrono. I'm not sure if you have a chrono in your collection. I'm sorry.
I hate chronographs.
Okay. All right. Well, there you
Amin's
go.
back. Amin's back.
So why this one? Why this in U50? Why is that in the mix?
Well, I want a German watch, that's for sure.
Mhm.
I went to the Watch Buys roadshow last year, and I tried the U1 on, and I tried all their watches on. And
Did you go to the one in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Oh, then I probably was there around the same time. I know they do 2 days over there, but that's back in December. That's when I went.
When they start doing the roadshows again, we got to work together.
We'll meet up. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll go on the same time, because I know you got to reserve a certain time slot.
It's like the movie Serendipity, guys.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is the beginning of a great friendship.
Yeah, so I mean, I love the U1. I was also considering the UX, which is their quartz that's hydro filled, so that there's no reflections. And I'm glad I got to see them in person, because I didn't like the UX in person. The U1 is nice, but it's a little bit thick.
Mm-hmm.
This is nice because it's 41 millimeters, so it's not too small, but it's like 12 millimeters thick, so it's great. I mean,
just above 11.
Yeah,
It's actually thinner than my Black Bay 58,
which is
crazy.
Bananas. Yeah.
Yeah.
This watch is sold out till February.
Wow.
So it's
a cool watch.
Yeah,
I like it.
and I have this rule of I have to see a watch in person before I buy it. So I'm
Smart.
just going to wait for the roadshow and try it. I mean, I'm 90% sure that I'll love it because I like the U1.
Yeah, no, it's I tell you what, I mean, now that I'm thinning the herd out a little bit, it's definitely up there for consideration after I purchased a couple of my quote unquote grails. I mean, I've always hated the U1, I hated the Lego hands, and then I loved them. It's the same thing with the snowflake hands with Tudor. I hated the snowflake hands until then one day I just loved them and was obsessed. So I get it. I definitely get it. Let's move on to the next one that's in play here, and Amin will know
Ooh.
this particular one here. Why this one? Is it because of almond reviews? Is it? Be
No,
honest.
I've loved the Octafinissimo since before this was even released. So I've tried on every iteration. I've tried on the titanium. I've tried on the ceramic. I've tried on the GMT chronograph. And I loved all of those, but I didn't like the bead blasted finish on any of them. It was just kind of dull for me. And then when I saw that the steel was announced and it has a brushed and polished finish, I knew it was going to have a little bit of shine to it, and that's kind of what I was looking for. And I've tried it on, and yeah, I mean, I fell in love with that watch. So it's on the radar for sure. Yeah, it's.
And what do you think?
I love it. I think it would complement your collection great too. Yeah, I'm a fan. I wear it a lot.
I think everyone here loves this watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on my not so short list, I'd say, but no, it's awesome. I think it's, again, another. Well, Marcus probably feels more strongly about it, but it could be a future classic.
Ricky, thank you so much. You were also at the Rocha. Yeah, so like Dan says, next time, when everything opens up and the world goes back to normal, let's all get together in Manhattan and go to a road show, because I mean, the one thing about the Watch Buys Roadshow, it's not just Sin that they have there. They have Dornbluth Zahn, they had Kadoki, they had a bunch of other German watches, and it's a whole lot of fun to try those watches on that you may not see every day. I mean, we can go down the street, most of us, and figuratively, and go to Omega AD or maybe even a Rolex AD or Breitling, and try these watches on. But some of these German watches, there's not too many opportunities to get to try them. So thank you, Ricky. Appreciate it.
Dan, the only thing about this watch that for me is that it's I don't feel like I can be rough on it. That brush bezel. I think if you put one nasty lick on that brush bezel, you'd really regret it. Yeah. So the water resistance is nice, and his screw down crown, and I feel like I can wear it in a lot of different circumstances, but I wouldn't.
I think I would be more worried about the bracelet getting scratched versus the case.
I don't really mind scratches in general. I scratch everything I own. I scratch all my
definitely
stuff.
Getting scratched.
Yeah, that bracelet's gonna be scratched no matter what for me. But that right around the bezel, it's such a nice radial brushing around that bezel. I think if I put like a huge horizontal line through the top of that bezel,
that'd be a shame.
Do you find that because it's so thin, maybe it's less prone to get hit?
I've already scratched the crystal. I don't think I actually scratched the sapphire. I think there's an anti-reflective coating on the outside that I put a scratch on. So no, in general, I don't mind scratches. That's just one watch where I feel like I would mind it slightly more.
Yeah.
I mean, this is bananas, right? I mean,
it feels like a big flat bracelet all the way around. As opposed to a watch, it's almost weighted equally all the way around. It feels really cool on the wrist. I really enjoy it.
I don't know. Just use a Scotch-Brite pad. You could probably fix it.
I've done that before. Yeah. It's great on a titanium Panerai because you're just pushing the titanium around. You're not actually refinishing it, and it heals it.
Really?
Yeah. You can you can indefinitely.
Titanium is magic.
Titanium it doesn't take the material off. It just kind of pushes it around.
Huh.
Yeah, my Pelagos, when I got it, was all scratched up, and I took some Scotch-Brite to the bracelet, and it legit looks brand new.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one last one that Dan is thinking about adding to his collection, and this one, never heard of these guys before, but Raketa, am I pronouncing that right? Mm-hmm. So how did you find this guy?
I don't know. I mean, I've been looking for a Russian watch, and I kind of was thinking about the scuba dude, and then I was just like, but it's such poorly built, so I'm not gonna get it just because it's a Russian diver. But this one is just too weird. Yeah, this is the Raketa Avant-Garde. I love this thing.
So this triangle here has got to be the hour hand, I would imagine, right?
No, that's the hour hands.
Yeah.
The big circle is the minute, I
What?
believe.
Ah,
Yeah. So the big circle has a little red line on it.
let me get back there. Sorry. Yep,
Yeah.
there it is,
Big
right there.
circle has a little line on it. I believe I don't know if it's a minute or second hand. Now that I think about it, and then the other hand is obviously the third.
It'd be
hand.
cooler if it's the second hand.
So I think
It might
this
be
one
the
is the second hand because it's resting on top of the other two. That's
Yeah,
my
you're
guess.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
I know I saw that on a channel recently. I think it was what's the name of that guy? He wears glasses. He's got the slick back hair.
Case back.
Case back. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. He had
German
it on.
guy?
Yeah, he had a cool video about very off the beaten path watches lately. It was
And that
good-
one has
good
a
watch.
crazy high dome sapphire.
This one here?
Yeah.
Let me see a
Yeah.
slide.
Crazy high dome sapphire.
It's kind of hard to tell. Let's
Yeah,
see.
you can't really see it. Doesn't look like it.
It's a cool looking watch.
How much are these?
They're a little pricey for a Russian watch. They're like 1,200.
Yeah, that is pricey for
Yeah.
a Russian. What's inside?
I have no idea.
In Russia, watch by you. All right.
Sputnik?
Yes. Yeah. 1800 hertz. 2.5, maybe.
18,000. Yeah, I don't know.
So it's an automatic, which is interesting. 24 joule. Yeah, it doesn't really say too much what's in here. Yeah, I mean, definitely something different. I mean, you don't see too many people in the streets wearing raquetas, so I dig it. I definitely dig it. This is something that I bet Joe would be interested
That's
in.
right up his alley, yeah.
Where is Joe anyway? He hasn't said a single thing in the live chat.
You know, he was at the beginning. He said he was going to pop in, and then he's
Yeah.
been MIA. You know,
He's pulling
These
an
are all
AB
too
here.
mainstream. All too mainstream for him. Although this last one he should have piped up. Maybe he's busy.
yeah. So, guys, any thoughts on what Dan should do here? He's got these three watches. If you were in Dan's position with his collection, and I'll open this up to the chat, what would you do?
I honestly think he'll be happiest with the U50. I'm going to go against the grain.
You know what? The U50 is sweet.
It is.
I want one.
I was a little surprised at the U50 because most of your watches are much bigger than that. Unless
Yeah. Is that
and,
a purposeful thing that your watches are bigger, or
Well, my
just
first
kind of happened?
5 millimeters, so
Yeah.
I just got used to it. So anything smaller than 40 millimeters feels tiny on me.
Mm.
Yeah. But the
feel like
Godzilla, your Grand Seiko diver,
They're all big.
the Omega, all quite big.
Yeah.
The U50, you don't think that you've tried that on? You felt that?
No, it's brand new. No, I mean,
Oh, okay.
it just
yeah.
came out and they sold out immediately.
Yeah, I like the U1. I haven't. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
U1
the U50. Looks good too.
U1 is 44 millimeters. U50 is 41 millimeters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't really have. I'm trying to think back, but you don't really have dressy watches, right?
No.
So would
And
you be okay with the Bulgari, I guess?
Yeah,
Or-
because I don't think it's like really dressy. It's I call it a FU watch, really. That's I mean, I don't mind that.
Yeah. And it is sporty looking too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. I mean, I'm a big fan of the U50, but I'd like to see you get that Bulgari, man. I gotta tell you, the Russian watch is cool. Like, it makes me think of Reservoir a little bit, that brand. And if I had to choose between the two, I know the Reservoir, the power price point's a little bit more, but they have that jumping hour and retrograde seconds. I mean that's something more my alley. But I mean that Bulgari is a beautiful, beautiful watch, man. It's a nice watch. Let's see here. Black Woman Gear, does Dan never get the Rolex itch?
So yeah, no, I don't.
Okay.
I'm not interested in those games. No, they make beautiful watches.
Yeah.
So I was always kind of like a little bit of a Rolex hater, just because of the negative aspects of it.
Mhm.
Every time I put one on, I'm like, damn, I get it. Like I understand why people love this thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have no interest in playing those games because I mean I live in Manhattan, so there's everybody
Yeah.
everybody is
It's
killing
so
each other.
hard, so hard in a big, very rich city.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I'm lucky to live in a smaller area where someone with my means can actually play in the game a little.
They're gonna give their subs to people who are spending way more money than me.
Yeah.
I have no interest in playing that game.
Amin's getting a little. Maybe that's why he just changed the background to TGV. He's getting a little Archie love. Somebody, Tom says Amin needs to wear ski boots to protect him from the carpet beetles. Yeah. So now we're back in TGV studios with Amin.
Yeah. Little
Gonna get
dinosaur.
a spotlight.
Yeah. You gotta get a squale. Right.
I bet TGV's war room's sweatier than Archie's because TGV actually exercises.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Archie sweats when he eats, I bet.
Yeah. Oh, there's Amin. Amin doesn't like this talk. Okay, Amin. Is Amin going to work for Watchbox? Now, Amin, could you lay these rumors to rest? Are you gonna go work for Watchbox or not?
All of these, straps I keep telling you to buy, and this handmade wooden box that I'm about to bring out and tell you about. I have no financial relationship with any of these products.
Oh, here's one for you, Colin. Disappointed that you sold the Geo.
Yeah. So apparently Nick might be in the same general area as me, which I didn't realize. So maybe I could have saved on some shipping costs. Oh well. Lots of flipping to come, Nick. Don't worry.
So Dan, you told us what your next watch is going to be, or potentially is going to be. What's your next car going to be?
Probably another 911.
Dan,
Okay.
you seem like you don't flip watches that much. Is that right?
No, that's not accurate.
You flip a lot. Are all the watches that you've presented today, or at least the more expensive ones, would you say they're safe? Is your Omega and your 2 grand Seikos, are they keepers for sure?
I flip the lower end stuff. I don't really all the mid tier stuff. I'm gonna keep all those. So anything like I flip around like under $1,000 watches.
And I think, and we touched on this a little bit before the stream, so maybe people want to know. I mean, is just a philosophy that it's maybe easier to move the lower price stuff as opposed to the big stuff, or do you put so much thought on the big ticket items that you know that you're going to keep them for a long period of time?
So what I did early on, and I'm glad I did this, was to develop my taste. I bought and sold cheaper watches to kind of figure out what I like, what fits me, what suits me. If I had done that with, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 watches, it just try to develop my taste that way, it would have been just way more expensive.
Gotcha. Any thoughts on complications? You don't like chronos, but is there no? You're just a 3-hand date kind of guy.
I mean, no. There's cool stuff that I like. I like the Rescents. I love that Rescents watch.
Yeah.
Those are sweet.
The new one, the 5X. I love that. That's great. And it's automotive themed too, so it's like it's super cool.
So someone mentioned earlier if you've ever looked at Autodromo because it's very automotive inspired.
Yeah, I saw their the Group B. Yeah, it's okay.
Not quite for you.
Yeah.
What was the other one? What was the one you were looking at, Bobby? That was automotive. You were like all about it.
The reservoir.
Oh, okay, reservoir.
Yeah, let me pull up the.
Sorry, did you already say that?
No, I did mention it, but I'll pull it up because
yeah.
because they're maybe it's something Daniel would consider, maybe not. Collection, we're here, cars. So I don't know if you got a chance to see these, Daniel, but what's cool about these is that they're kind of shaped like a speedometer, and you have the power reserve here, but it's like a fuel tank here, right? So it looks like empty, full, half tank. Very, very cool watches. Jump hour. Very cool complications.
And it's a retro minutes, right?
What's the price range on these?
So there you go, like around 30,
34.
34, and depending. Some of them go a little bit higher than others, and they do have an ETA movement in it. So I don't know if you caught that, but let me see if I can get that to play again.
Yeah, it's a cool animation.
Boom, and then that's the hour changing right there. That's awesome. I mean,
just much slower in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
But you do have its base is the 2824, but they have a module, like to say a patented module that they do those complications. So very cool watch, very different.
Yeah, Pete's got a good suggestion too. Is the Chapard Milgli? I can't say it. Yeah,
that's also a dive watch now.
No, or be the 1,000-mile race.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not familiar with how that looks.
They look pretty cool.
It's got a good water resistance. I think it's like 100 meters.
Yeah, there's a lot of different versions. Yeah. Usually the straps are actually supposedly made from like F1 tires and stuff like that.
I think they use Pirellis for their strap.
Yeah, so like right here, the strap, it looks like a...
Yeah. There's actually a very limited, very rare Mille from the Porsche Club of America. I think there's only it's a limited edition of 50. If you like Porsche and you like Chopard, that's something you could look into.
Look at that. The tire tread. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. Look into.
I thought I pulled it up. But,
not only that, I mean, Amin talks about buying things at the bottom of the value curve. You can buy those secondhand for some pretty good prices. That's a chrono, but she wouldn't.
Has Bear Clooney sold his yet? I don't know.
I can't keep track of what he does.
Joe Chang makes an appearance in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, where is he? Where is Joe? Is that there he is. Distracted by my kids, and now I'm 11 minutes behind on the live stream. Just heard my name invoked. Yeah.
Why are your kids still awake, man? My kids have been asleep for hours.
Yeah. Well, guys, great night tonight. Dan, thank you so much for coming on and being roasted. And it wasn't too bad, right? It wasn't too bad.
No roasting. Awesome collection.
He has a good collection. I wanted to roast him.
Very unique. Yeah. Very cool.
Colin and I wanted to roast him.
Yeah.
I wanted more. Come on, bring it on.
He came with some good stuff, so we couldn't do it.
And guys, Colin from Winding Watches and also the Winding Watches YouTube channel. Please go and sub. And he's got a couple of videos, and we're encouraging him to come up with a couple more videos a week.
Don't forget his secret Instagram handle.
Yeah, I'll let Colin mention it if he wants.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Amin from Amin Reviews on YouTube. Amin, anything else you want to?
No, plug? Dan has a good Instagram. You guys check out Dan on Instagram too.
Dan, what's your? Is it 911 _ Dan? Yeah, and Marcus, do you want to plug your Instagram?
No,
please?
I'm good.
No, you're good. Okay. Fair enough, guys. Good night. Thank you.
He can't blow up too fast. Yeah.
Right. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks with
guys.
another state of the collection. See ya.
Good collection, man.
That was good.